Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil. It's Ghana Tonight, live on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amano. Let's get into our top stories for this evening. Electoral Commission says March 3rd, 2026 to elect a new member of parliament for Ayawaso East constituency after the death of the incumbent Mahama Nasir Ture. Also tonight, Transport Minister enters crucial meeting with GPRTU as it attempts to resolve current transport crisis in the capital city, Accra. Also coming up, we'll talk about university fees because discussions over who and how is to determine public university fees remain a hot topic. Stay with me, I'll explain what that means. But tonight we also know GRASAG is speaking up over what changes University of Ghana students can expect in third-party charges. I'm Kemeni Amano and this is Ghana Tonight. Let's bring you the nice summaries in Ghana Brief.
The Electoral Commission of Ghana, EC, has officially set Tuesday, March 3, 2026 as the date for a parliamentary by-election in the Ayawaso East constituency. The poll follows the unfortunate death of the constituency's Member of Parliament, Honorable Mahama Nasir Ture, which has rendered the seat vacant. In a press release dated January 16, 2026, the Commission outlined the process and schedule for prospective candidates. The Vice President, Professor Nana Jino Pukwajiman, has pledged that government is taking definite steps to resolve the apparent public transport crisis, which has left several commuters frustrated amidst clamoring for vehicles to get to their nearest destination. The VIP engaged transport unions and toured the stations of the operators in the capital on Friday.
We are working with about 60% of what we used to have. How come we used to have a 1,000 or so and we are happy with the 400? Something went wrong. Whatever it was, we need to fix it and never return to that situation again. The next time we come here, we want to see even more. We want to see better. We want to see a Ghana resetting through Metro Map.
The Education Minister has held a meeting with Vice Chancellors to determine the possibility of establishing a permanent committee to review university fees annually. Recruitment and replacement of staff, as well as cost of utilities and pension funds, were discussed. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has signaled the establishment of a committee that would annually review fees for universities.
The other matter that I would like us to discuss today is to see whether we cannot have a committee which will annually meet to discuss and review your fees so that we don't have to be going through, even if we have to go through, we should have a committee at our level. Probably if I were to say that maybe chaired by Deputy Minister and your representative and others, so that we can discuss together with the Tertiary Education Directorate.
Come has returned to Wikongo after residents and students from Bolgatanga Senior High School in the Talensi district of the Upper East region clashed Thursday night. The clash followed a misunderstanding between some residents and students on campus. The assemblyman of Wikongo, Edward Azua Akogo, said an agreement has been reached between the community and the school regarding the incident.
The police commander, Talensi police commander, came around, called, and I spoke with him. And this morning, early in the morning, I rushed to the school. When I got to the school, I think things were normal and students were going about with their teaching and learning, the teachers. So having met the school authorities and also met my community boys, I think things are under control.
Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, Professor Nanama Brown Kluche, says the authority remains resolute despite November 6, 2025 attack on EPA team of journalists during anti-Galamsey operation at Dagrini in the Ashanti region. During a meeting with the management of Akoma FM, a subsidiary of Media General, on Friday, she hinted on an insurance package for victims.
Fortunate event happened, and we are here to continuously present our support that this shouldn't be an incident that will deter you from working with us or dampen your spirit in working with us. We are in this together, in this fight against illegal mining and the whole environmental stewardship that the EPA is mandated for.
The IMF has revealed that Ghana's domestic gold purchase program incurred a quasi-physical loss of $214 million but played a crucial stabilizing role during a period of financial stress. Speaking at a briefing on the IMF's fifth review staff report on Ghana, IMF Communications Director Julie Rozak noted that the program helped boost international reserves and ease pressure on the foreign exchange market, contributing positively to economic stability despite its costs.
In our staff report for the fifth review, the report acknowledged this program, and it acknowledged and discussed a bit the benefits and the costs of the domestic gold purchase program. On the benefit side, what we see is a contribution to a buildup of international reserves and reduced pressure on the foreign exchange market during a difficult period for Ghana.
Well, now that's just Ghana Brief for you. Remember that if you're just joining us, this is Ghana Tonight Live on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. Also remember we are streaming live on 3news.com, facebook.com, x.com, and on YouTube. If you'd like to be a part of the program, remember to use the hashtag Ghana Tonight. Let's get into our first big one. Another by-election in the offing. How contentious it will be, we'll find out now. That constituency heading to the polls is Ayawaso East. Tonight, the Electoral Commission announcing new days to kickstart processes for the by-election. The incumbent MP, Muhammad Nasir Toure, died earlier this month after an undisclosed ailment, paving way for a new MP to be elected. Toure won the 2024 elections with over 20,000 votes, handing him, the 60-year-old he was, a fourth term in office. Now, I want to share with you the dates to keep in mind as far as this by-election is concerned, because the Electoral Commission has been talking about them. Let's take a look at those now. The Electoral Commission, announced that in accordance with the law, it will conduct that by-election on 3rd March 2026. It also goes on to say that the Commission will receive nominations from prospective candidates for the election of a Member of Parliament for Ayawaso East constituency starting from February 9th, 2026 to the 11th of February, 2026, between the hours of 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on each of those days. The Commission then goes on to say that indeed, as of now, the Friday, the 16th of January 2026, interested candidates, parties, individuals can head to their website to download nomination forms. Now, these forms will be available until the very last day when nominations are opened on Wednesday, 11 February 2026. So those are the days to keep in mind. Remember, the election itself is on Tuesday, the 3rd of March 2026. Nominations are open as of tonight. It will end on Wednesday, 11th of January 2026. If you'd like to deliver your nomination forms, it's between Monday, the 9th of February 2026 to Wednesday, 11th of February 2026. 9th February 2026 to 11th February 2026, in case I said that wrong. But all parties and individuals can register their interest by picking up forms, which I've already told you are available now on the Electoral Commission's website. Now let's get into a conversation on the back of this. Another by-election. Nobody expected the incumbent to pass away suddenly as he did. Rashid Tanko Computer is Acting Director of Elections for the NDC. Tanko, I appreciate your time tonight, but it was your MP that passed. Our condolences to you and the party and by extension, his family. But another by-election in the offing.
Very well, Kemini. Let me say good evening to you and cherished viewers across the globe. And let me also say good evening to the good people of Nima, that is Ayawaso East. I mean, we share their grief. Honorable Nazar was a good man. I mean, a down-to-earth Muslim. In fact, I've been an MP. He was also a Muslim cleric. Down-to-earth. I mean, he was loved by his people. But Allah loves him more. That's why Allah called him back. I mean, so, well, we as a political party, we're waiting for the Electoral Commission to come out with a date. And now that the date has been issued, tomorrow, thereabout, we will trigger our internal processes. In fact, last week, we had a FEC meeting where we discussed the processes as to how to get a worthy replacement for Honorable Nasser. And now that the Electoral Commission has given us the green light, we will trigger the process of getting a worthy replacement.
I see. And in triggering the process, Tanko, are you talking about a primary, so to speak?
Yes, I mean, it's part of the process. I mean, we are engaging with the constituency. I mean, that has been our process in getting a candidate. If we engage the constituency and then interest are there, people have the interest, I mean, why not? The only way to solve people's interest is to go the primaries, I mean, conduct primaries. That is the only way you can solve people's interest. But if we have a candidate that everybody think others will not file, if you open the nomination and then others will not come in just because of the candidate, it makes our work easier as a directorate. I mean, the election directorate of the NDC will always want to have the easiest way of getting a candidate for the party, and that is by consensus. If we are not reaching there, then we go for the ballot box. I mean, that is how we always do it. And I know my people at NEMA, they are people who understand our game very well. We've been with them for all this while. And then so it's going to be a very smooth process of getting a candidate for the good people of NEMA. And any candidate we so pick is going to be the MP. He will replace the MP, of course. I mean, the figures don't lie. And the performance of the government of the NDC, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for the 1 year we've been in office, has been tremendous. I mean, everybody there is talking about it, the performance of the government, and therefore I don't see any stiff competition for our opponent. Indeed, our opponent, if they get to know that it will not be in their good interest to contest this, it's better they don't even come in there.
Well,
I mean,
sounds like too much confidence too soon, wouldn't you say?
Not as such. I mean, if you look at our performance over the years, even in from 2012 thereabout to 2016, when we left power, from 2017 up to the time MPP left, NEMA didn't get anything at all. I mean, they were completely sidelined, and it's a constituency because they knew that it's a stronghold of NDC, and it's a constituency dominated by my colleagues, Muslim brothers and sisters, and look at how they bastardized their religion through the botched nature of the Hajj, and then the traumatic increase of the Hajj first. I mean, all these things were not helping our brothers in NEMA. And then so I wasn't surprised in the last election, the MPP got just 9,000 votes, a little over 9,000. We got over 22,000 plus. So you can see the vast difference between the NDC and MPP in that constituency. I mean, so now that we are there, we are back to office, and you've seen it. We have reduced the price of the Hajj fares drastically. In fact, not small, drastically. And even this year, we further reduce it for them. And then so we are making Islam very, very popular now in Ghana because people are so much interested. They have seen that we have allowed everybody to live together as brothers and sisters with our Christian brothers. We are together. Nobody is talking about religious issues in Ghana. So these are the things we are doing, and the good people, they appreciate it.
Is this another constituency? Is this another constituency you would advise your opponents not to bother contesting the NDC for?
Yes, in fact, that's why I've just told you that, look, the small credibility they still have, the MPP, I think they should keep that one and not to come to NEMA constituency, Ayawaso East. Because, look, if we all do election matrix, and if you do your calculation very well, there are certain constituencies, if they access to go, I mean, we'll just look at it and say, okay, well, why will you have to go and waste our time in this constituency? We chicken out in Ejisu. You remember Ejisu by-election, when the Honorable Deputy Finance Minister died. The NDC didn't participate. I mean, we did our matrix and saw that there was no need for us to go in there. And then so this one, if they have good election matrix among themselves, just like how they ran away from Tamale Central, I mean, why would they want to waste their time coming to Ayawaso East? So, I mean, well, it's left to them. We are not stopping them from coming. Nobody is stopping MPP.
I see.
It's their democratic right as a political party to come in. But should they decide to come and contest, I can assure you, we will hand them some heavy defeat. In fact, the defeat that we plan for them, only God knows.
I see, Tanko, I want to talk about who the potential candidate could be. You referred to a meeting earlier this week where the potential for a primary was discussed. But what exactly are the executive council of the party leaning towards? Getting a sole candidate or going in for the primary?
Well, actually, we want to go in for primaries.
You want to go in for a primary?
We think
I
that
see.
we will go. In fact, that has always been our processes. But if we open up and only one person pick nomination, so be it. It makes our work easier.
Have there been have interest been shown yet? As
Well, we have
director
not
of
been-
elections, do you know if people have shown interest since the passing of Nasir?
Well, it has not come to my notice so far, and my colleagues are at the directorate. But what I do know is that people are testing waters. I mean, matters of this nature, it will be even premature for anybody to come out. I remember we were all grieving. I was at the funeral. I was at the burial ground, and I saw how people were heartbroken in terms of losing our MP. And then, so at that time, nobody could be thinking of replacing him at all. Nobody would have shown that until we did the final funeral right last Sunday. I mean, everybody was there, and we mourned with the family and all that. I still know in Islam, we say God gives and God takes. Allah gives and Allah takes. So with this one, now that is gone, and then the matter is, the issue of his funeral is settled. I'm sure as soon as we open up the nomination for the candidates who wish to take up our position as a candidate for the NDC, I can assure you, people will come out. People might come out.
Let's speak to those potentials, right? Having known Nasir for a long time, he's a four-term, or he was a four-term MP. What are the characteristics you would hope that those who put their hats in the ring in your primary will have?
Well, I mean, the person should mirror his performance. I mean, it has not been easy holding a constituency for 4 times. I mean, that tells you that he was doing something positive for the good people of Ayawaso East. And I can assure you, whoever wants to wear his shoe, I mean, must mirror his performance and then see some of the challenges that are facing the good people of Nima and its environs. I mean, these are some of the things we're expecting a candidate who will come out. I mean, somebody who the people can relate very well with. I know the place very well. I love them. I love Nima people. They are nice people. It's a place I would love to live. I mean, they are very nice people over there.
Tanko.
So these are the things we were looking at. But I can assure you, we will make it very transparent. It will be free, fair. The process will be open to everybody. And look, let me put it on record. Should we be going for the primaries? The delegates list is intact. We have it. We are not replacing anybody. Even if a branch executive died, we are not replacing as of now. I mean, so the one that we use to elect the constituency executives and the last primaries is the same delegates list we are going to use. So nobody is going to replace anything in there. The document is intact and we have it there. So the only thing is just the procedure will go through. And
Indeed.
Then whoever emerges, that will be his luck.
Indeed, Tanko, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure talking to you. Rashid Tanko Computer
I'm
is
grateful.
Indeed acting director of elections for the NDC. We've just been talking about that primary scheduled for March 3rd, 2026. And I've shared with you the most important dates to keep in mind, particularly for the constituents of Ayawaso East here in the capital city. But we are not done with this subject. Joining me now is political analyst, Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochre. Doc, I appreciate your time. Excuse me. I appreciate your time tonight. Let's blame it on the weather. I don't know what's happening to my voice, but we'll blame it on the weather. Doc, you had my conversation with Tanko. The NDC is very confident going into this election. The Electoral Commission, of course, unhindered, acted swiftly to organize that March 3rd by-election. But what are the dynamics at play, if any at all?
Well, it is quite refreshing. Let me say good evening. Of course, you forgot to say that I'm the executive director of the AISS, but that is just by the by. Well, I think that it is quite reassuring that the NPP, of course, through their General Secretary, has reassured all of us that they're going to contest and win the constituency. I like the bravado on this part. But as to whether it is supported by what is on the ground, that is a difficulty. Because if you look at the last elections, the NDC led by over 70%, and the percentage that Dr. Bawumia had is even less than the candidate of that particular place. So, by and large, if the NPP will want to, ask the person who lost the elections against the late MP, well, I think that makes a lot more sense. If they have another popular candidate, they can usually, put that particular person up for that particular election. At this time that they find themselves at a crossroads, it is quite, important to state that it comes at some kind of advantage because at the end of the day, the elections will have to take place when they are done with the presidential elections. And so they are going to have some kind of momentum on whoever wins the presidential primaries come 31st January. And that in itself could put them in some kind of stead. Maybe they will be able to, get their act together, bring on board who might have lost, those who might have lost the presidential primaries, and then there could be some kind of united force. If that happens, then I expect them to show up their vote in Ayawaso East. But as to whether they have what takes the momentum to win that particular constituency, I have my doubt.
I see. But despite what you have said, right, do we see a repeat of Tamale Central in Ayawaso East, where months ago, maybe 3 months ago, the NPP chose not to indulge in that by-election?
Well, that would have meant that they would have shot themselves in the foot because some few weeks ago, the General Secretary reiterated that they were going to contest and win. On the side of the NDC, as to whether it is going to be like the Tamale Central, well, since it is supposed to be is one of, the strongholds of the party, then that is equally possible. It is just that they will have to manage the internal affairs very well to ensure that whoever emerges is someone that is overwhelmingly popular, resonates well with the masses in that particular constituency. Even if that is not the case, it is still going to be an Herculean task for the NPP as it were to turn the tables against the NDC. What has really worked for the NDC, which is not constituency-based, is the central government performance. The performance of the central government has, of course, trickled down to most part of this country, not only Ayawaso East. Because I'm always of the view that there are about 4 policies of government anywhere in the world that affect its citizenry, whichever part that you find yourself. So you're talking about inflation, you're talking about the cedi to the major currencies, you're going to talk about the interest rate, you're going to talk about debt to GDP. So joblessness, debt to GDP, having that kind of allowance that will allow government to undertake the big push, obviously is going to create some jobs throughout the country and then some area specific. And then if you talk of the inflation, you can talk about the food inflation having gone down as much as 4.9%. Food inflation that used to be very high in the previous regime, quite low under the current, Minister for Agri.
And so could we go as far as say, that while in certain cases by-elections will be a test of the incumbent government and its popularity with the people, this could be or turn out to be an endorsement of the incumbent government?
Certainly, it is definitely going to be an endorsement.
On that score, would it then be your advice that other candidates, while they may have the right to and duty, if you look at it technically, to contest in the election, perhaps they shouldn't at all? Would it be a waste of time?
Even on the side of the NDC or the MPP?
No, other candidates outside of the NDC.
Oh, that would be a waste of time and waste of resources. What is more crucial for the NDC is to ensure that the transition is done flawlessly. Anyone who is qualified and is a member of the NDC and of good standing, if they express their interest, they should allow them. After all, internally, the party can generate some kind of funds. At the end of the day, it is the ordinary citizen in that constituency that is going to decide. They shouldn't put any kind of impediment. As they did in Tamale Central, so should it be in Ayawaso East.
I know. And, you know, in past, when we have talked to people in these communities, we could say that the reactions to the on-the-ground performance of the party has been mixed because, again, what is local to the constituents of Ayawaso East remain important to them despite what the national feel and figures would tell us, right? What are the important things that you expect whoever becomes the next MP of such a large Zango community will tackle?
Well, in the early part of your question, you said something that there is that kind of mixed feeling. And I think that it is good because in as much as central government is doing so well, it appears that among the grassroots, there is some kind of disquiet. So if at the end of the day, they do not get, of course, by elections, usually you wouldn't get the same number as the general elections. But they will have to sit down and look at the figures carefully. That in itself will let them know whether they have been quite forthright with the grassroots, because that is the beginning, of apathy against any ruling government. And that appears to be the case. The government is doing very well, generally.
Very well.
But among the grassroots, there is that kind of simmering tension and some kind of disquiet. And so probably they may have to use this particular by-election to
dig down,
eyes and possibilities.
Zoom into the people's concerns in those communities, particularly the large Zongo communities in the Ayawaso East constituency. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for your time. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst, and we've just been discussing the Ayawaso East by-election. Remember, just quick information that I forgot to give you earlier. The filing fee for the election is 10,000 cedis per candidate. There's a discount for female candidates and persons with disabilities, which is some 7,500. There's a 2,500 discount for anybody who falls within that category. I want to turn attention to public transport now, because the question is, how easy was it for you to find Trotro to your destination today? Tonight, Transport Minister in crucial meeting with GPRTU, but would that move the needle? That's the important question. Let's get into that. How was your evening ride home tonight? That is the single most important question if you use public transport or Trotro system in the capital city. For weeks now, few buses on the road have resulted in long queues, commuters jostling for a seat, and high fares. Now, since TV3 began reporting on this development, and government has been moving to tackle the situation. Now, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman visited some urban transport offices to learn how the crisis is being resolved.
Dedicating lanes for the buses to ply is very, very important, because if I'm going to leave my cars elsewhere and be in the queue, then maybe there's a very little attraction in using that option. So it's just unfortunate that we have to go back instead of advancing what was there. And all of these should be lessons to all of us on why we need to do things properly in order to advance our country. So I want to commend you in the efforts you are making to restructure. That's the sense I'm getting, not just retooling, but also resetting the Ayalolo.
So that was the Vice President at the Ayalolo offices in Adenta, and learning from them how what role they are playing to resolve the crises plaguing the Ghanaian commuter in the capital city. But then it's just more than one. So she goes to the Metro Mass Transit, also here in Accra Connection to be precise, where she engaged with the people. What I didn't understand was the little bit of fanfare that took place. But let's take a look at it.
With about 60% of what we used to have. How come we used to have 1,000 or so and we are happy with the 400? Something went wrong. Whatever it was, we need to fix it and never return to that situation again. The next time we come here, we want to see even more. We want to see better. We want to see a Ghana resetting through Metro Mass.
Well, she'll go on to talk about how seriously the government is taking the crises that are plaguing commuters in Accra. But in more action towards resolving the situation, we know that the Transport Minister also held crucial meetings with the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. Joining me now is Abbas Imoro, Public Relations Officer for the GPRTU. Abbas, the last time I spoke with you, you said you would meet with the minister. Once that minister has concluded, you would tell us what your task force found when it went out to observe the development on the ground. So talk to us. What did your task force find? What was in the report that you presented to the minister?
Good evening to listeners. And yes, today we met at the Transport Ministry. The local honorable local government minister was there, together with the vice president. Mm-hmm. But the meeting was inconclusive because the transport minister has to accompany the vice president to Ayalolo and Metro Mass. So we are to come back on Monday to conclude the issue. I strongly believe on Monday we'll be in a very good position to rectify all those grievances.
Right. So let's take things a step at a time. When you tell us that the meeting was inconclusive, what does that mean? You couldn't talk about the subject matter at all?
We were halfway through. We couldn't conclude it. By what I mean is we have to make sure we present the grievances on those few drivers who have been loading so short, and few drivers also who have been overcharging during rush hours. These are the main issue on hand.
What are those? So again, explain to me. You have just told us the problem we experience as commuters. What exactly is the reason the drivers charge those high fares? What was in your report that you told the minister about?
I'm saying it was income. We haven't finished to come up with final decisions. So right now, we're not in a very good situation to tell you those who are loading so short, this and that is what we presented, and this and that are the decisions taken. We haven't gotten finally to that. So finally, so you have to give us that benefit so that Monday when we sit, finally we come to conclusion of all those issues.
I see. So when the GPRTU told the Ghanaian public that we are sending a task force to ascertain the problem on the ground and ensure that recalcitrant drivers are sanctioned, what did you mean?
Well, we have identified those drivers who are treating the general public the way they are doing, and there are certain issues which must be implemented, which is not being implemented, which could also curtail the issues on those things that are being reported by the general public. So give us the benefit. Let's meet back on Monday, and all of us will present our grievances, look for the solutions, and we'll move forward from there.
I see, Abbas. I'm going to have to end the conversation because it's a whole lot of words, very little substance for the Ghanaian public. We'll wait for next week. Thank you so much for your time. Abbas Imoro is PRO for the GPRTU. He says, let's wait for next week. When they finish that meeting with the transport minister, they'll tell us a bit more about how they resolve our urban transportation crisis that we are plagued with at this time. But we've been asking you about your experience online. Some of you have been sharing those with us. Let's take a look at those now. Isaac Kwakupum, government must take over the business of transportation. Okay. Move the capital or some ministries from Accra and the problem Move the capital or some ministries from Accra and the problem will be solved for a long time. Daniel Foster says the only solution to this is to invest heavily in the rail infrastructure. With good rail infrastructure, all these will be a thing of the past. When the rail industry is vibrant, a lot of people will even park their cars. Really important point. 50% government buses and 50% PPP because government gadgets are hardly taken care of to be always in good use. Go to STC, you'll understand that 75 to 80 and maybe 95% of buses are from private individuals. They look at Qatar, UAE, UK, etc., and implement the exact thing here. They should look. I see. That's important. Churches cannot be the backbone of public transport. Only railways can. Churches should be restricted to feeder services, with railways carrying bulk traffic along major corridors like Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Accra, Aplao, and Accra to Tekoshi, Adenta, Dodoa. Well, now, we'll keep an eye on this story and bring you developments as they emerge, because as you have seen, this story or issue or crisis, as we have tagged it, it's really important to us here in the TV3 newsroom. I'll take a break, but when I come back, university fees remain top and front of the news as Minister hints of a new fee-setting committee. Others are now asking for more autonomy for the schools to have the final say. Which is which? Let's learn that when I return. It's Ghana Tonight, live on TV3. Welcome back to Ghana Tonight. We are live on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. I'm Kemini. Committee is set up for the purpose of fee review during a meeting with vice chancellors from public universities across the country. Let's take a listen.
Have a committee at that level, probably if I were to say that maybe chaired by deputy minister and your representative and others, so that we can discuss together with the Tertiary Education Directorate and your representative, including a representative of the students, whether at the level of NUCS or SRC, so that we can dialogue on some compelling and necessary adjustment if it's necessary.
But vice chancellors want more autonomy. Chairperson of Vice Chancellors Ghana, Professor Kwesi Amankwa, suggests a complete mandate that will not require them to go through Parliament to review fees. Take a listen.
Actually, is one of the points we wanted to raise, that we take school fees determination from Parliament. When people are in opposition, their issues are different from when they are in power. And always is the universities that lose. PURC just tells us we have increased electricity. Nobody fights them. Let a VC increase fees by 200 Ghana. Hey, everybody is fighting the vice chancellor.
In other issues,
let's have a quick chat on the back of this, because this story has been a long time coming. Tonight, we are also looking at the statement from GRASAG. It is a joint statement from the UG SRC, the SRC of University of Ghana, and GRASAG UG. I'll get into what this says, but right now I'll bring on Dr. Peter Anti, who's Executive Director for the Institute for Education Studies. Doc, we're back to this, this topic again, because we see the Education Minister trying to resolve the situation. The universities are on a different wavelength, asking for autonomy. What readings are you making into where we are today?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. I think I'm on the side of the VCs Ghana. You see, the problem is not about getting a committee to look at whatever it is. The problem is the procedure, the process that they go through before fees are approved. And because it goes through the parliamentary system, it always or normally delays. And there are laws, legal issues around this. There are acts that have been passed by Parliament. And because of that, even if the committee is set, that committee's recommendation and everything will still have to go through Parliament. And that is why the VCs are telling the minister that, look, we don't need a committee. What we need is that we should be given the opportunity to manage our fee structure and also approve, present those fees to the students. So what I'm thinking is that the aspect of Parliament coming in there should be streamlined. I think that if the minister wants to solve the problem, he should be looking at a situation whereby these fees are, the fee schedules that comes from the various universities are quickly run through Parliament and approved before the beginning of the academic year. That is what the minister can do to help address the problem, and not to set up another committee that will compound the already bureaucratic nature of the fee approval process.
I'm going to come back to you. I want to bring in the GRASAG angle now, because tonight we're hearing from GRASAG that changes have been made after they met with the Minister for Education earlier this week. A few of the changes we're seeing is that the proposed 200 cedi increment on the SRC Development Fund levy will now be 50% less. GRASAG Development Fund levy, 350 cedis. The Telecel broadband bundle, which I questioned, will now be optional for all students. SRC dues at 50 cedis. What was not discussed at the meeting was the 75th anniversary levy and Coming in now is Sadiq Abubakar, who is president of GRASAG UG. Let's look at the missing element here first. We'll look at the other issues. Why wasn't the 75th anniversary discussed, and what does it mean for third-party charges? Is going off completely?
Thank you very much, and good evening once again. I think that in our earlier discussions and meeting with the minister and then DTEC, the 75th anniversary levy was not discussed in that meeting. So we don't know where it came about. But I mean, I'm part of the University Council Board, the Governing Council, and the 75th anniversary is, I mean, a legacy project that the university want to do, year marking their 75th anniversary. It's one of the student experience center that they want to build for the school. So I think this levy has been there for the past, the time they started, I mean, their 75th, they celebrated their 75th anniversary. So I think that since they want to have a legacy project regarding the student experience, I think it's in a good direction. And then the Ministry of Education will have to hear what BC will use that.
I see, but Sadiq, what should students expect? Should students expect that the 75th anniversary levy will be on their bills, or because it was not discussed, it will no longer be there?
It is already in our bill, and I mean, I'm a PhD student in level 400, and I started paying SBA when I was in level 100, when I was in my first year in PhD. So, I mean, it's been there.
You started paying since you were in level 100?
Yes, please.
And so the legacy project hasn't been built yet?
So, my question is that when is BC starting this legacy project? That the question is, when is BC starting this legacy project? For we, the student contributing to this money, we know that, I mean, BC is now utilizing our money for the intended purpose that they are taking our money for. But I mean, the mobilization of the fund, what a legacy project that she wants to do, I think is going to also help students to ease our accommodation crisis on campus and giving us, I mean, a multi-purpose, I mean, complex that has a lot of activities in it. So I think it's in a good direction. My question is, when is BC starting the project?
And when will the charges end, right? That's really important. Because if you've been paying since level 100 and you're a fourth-year student, that is a lot of money collected for legacy projects. But we understand that while this was not discussed at the meeting, the education minister has said it should not be charged. Is this something you are aware of? So
I am not aware of it, but my concern is if the university stop charging the money. Now, we that have started contributing to this levy, are they referring our money back to us, or the university or the education ministry is going to, I mean, add some funds to the existing funds, but the university to commence this project or complete this project? Because we want to see this project, I mean, coming to reality. Because one of the things that we, the students, have seen in this project is that the accommodation, I mean, part of the, I mean, student experience center is what we are looking at, and it's going to help us to mitigate or ease the burden of accommodation on campus. But if the education minister is saying this is to stop, I mean, this levy, then the funds collected currently, what are they using the funds for? Are they giving us our money back, or they're turning the funds to something different that we the students will start agitating about it? So we think that, I mean, we should look at this case holistically about the benefits it's going to give to the students, rather than looking at, I mean, the imposition of the levy on us. Because some have paid and they flip the school well as their feet.
I see. So in total, Sadiq, I have to go. But in total, we know that the university had indicated that it is the third-party fees which were coming to a total of some 770 cedis. It is the components that has shot up the total fees and charges for students. So with these changes, what is the total amount for third-party charges?
So it has not been agreed because of the pull and push between the university and the regulatory body. So currently, I mean, in our last meeting that we had, we agreed that the broadband, which was made compulsory for the first year, should be made optional, which was amount to 312 Ghana cedis. So if that becomes an optional, I think that the third-party levy will reduce drastically.
I see. We'll end it here, Sadiq. Thank you so much for your time. Sadiq Abubakar is GRASAG UG president. He's just been talking about the outcome or the conclusion of the meeting they've had with the education minister in apropos of the increased fees and charges for students of the University of Ghana. Dr. Peter Anti is still here with us. You have the final word on this. We see the changes. He tells us that this cannot be implemented because there is still disagreement over the way forward between the university management and the Ministry of Education. What are your thoughts on what you have heard so far?
I'm a little bit confused because we were made to believe that these fees were third-party charges, as you rightly asked him, and they were coming from the student body. And I have said that I don't know why the student body would charge fees that the students themselves says they do not want to pay or they cannot afford. Because the student leadership is supposed to be the voice of the students. So if the student leadership are now charging fees that the student body cannot, are against it, then who is representing the students now? And I don't think that this aspect of the students' charges should have even gone to the Minister of Education. No. You, the student leaders, are supposed to sit with your constituents and then discuss and then make sure that they are comfortable with the fees that you are going to charge them. Why should this be a matter for the Minister of Education to be dealing with? And so I think that the leaders, student leaders that are coming up nowadays, they should sit up because it seems that they don't represent their constituents, and that is a big challenge for the students' front in Ghana.
I appreciate your time tonight. Dr. Peter Anti is Executive Director for the Institute for Education Studies, ending our hour tonight here, or Ghana Tonight. I appreciate your time spending that with me here on the program on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. But just before I go, tonight we're learning of a series of intelligence-led operations carried out by the Ghana Navy, resulting in major busts of illegal fuel bunkers along the coastline of the Volta region. The coordinated raids were made earlier this week at Abelia Copper and Atuko Copper London beaches in Aflao. Naval officers from the Nutekpo base seized more than hundreds of gallons of fuel packaged in barrels and 25-liter containers. In another operation, the Navy intercepted 7 specially modified canoes on suspicion they are used in the illegal fuel trade business along the Ketu-Denu-Aflao coastline. As always, a few things to note for the weekend. Key Points is back on your screens. At 7 a.m. tomorrow, Alfred Okanse will be here with his panel, and they will discuss the week's biggest stories, including the urban transportation system problem we have right now. There will also be the Maslow case and the possible extradition of the former CEO, Sedina Tamaklo, to come and serve her sentence here in Ghana. And then the ICE, FBI, and Ken Oforiatta saga returns to the table on Key Points tomorrow. Make time to watch. You see the panel members, Kofi Bentil, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Felix Kwachio Fosu. There is also Professor Godfred Bokpin there, the former Member of Parliament, Andrew Apia Kubi as well. Our very own Martin Kwebu also in the mix there, and Dr. Arthur Kennedy, who will be joining from the United States of America. And there is also an exclusive, a one-on-one interview with Ambassador Victor Smith, Ghana's ambassador to the United States. Remember, it is the embassy in Washington, D.C. that first broke the news of Sedina's arrest by U.S. Marshals. And he'll tell Alfred a bit more if you join them at 7 a.m. tomorrow. On Sunday, we'll go deeper one-on-one on the transportation crisis on hot issues. Remember, it's at 1 p.m. with my good self. I'm Kemini Amano. Good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.